Hi, everyone.
Hey, Steve. How'd it go today?
Good, George. I saw your message. We're going to plan and schedule for a round two for Wednesday. So I'm going to get communication out here in a little bit, and we're planning that for 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay, and who's going to be on that one?
I'll get it out to our same committee.
Okay, but I mean, what people?
Oh, the individual from today.
Oh, okay, good. You went pretty well then.
Fairly well. I mean, it was, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I would have liked to have seen more substance to some of the answers.
Well, hopefully we'll get that on Wednesday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, today got crazy. I'm sorry for missing that because I wanted to be there, but the traffic just was horrendous, and I got back about 2:30, and I said, "Oh, that didn't make it." I didn't have my phone, and well, so I text Rich when I got back that I didn't have the phone. Otherwise, I would have gotten back to you guys at the time.
No, that's fine. We had 10 of us still.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be ready on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll keep the committee posted as it goes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's that?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are we awake tonight?
Here.
So can we have the roll call, please?
Okay, Sharon Glasgow,
Here.
George Andrews,
Here.
Debbie Kulik,
Here.
and Wayne Roner.
Here.
Perfect, thank you. Can we have a motion to adopt the agenda for December 21st, with the members of the committee reserving the right to add to the agenda and take further action as the committee deems appropriate?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Recommendation, motion to approve the minutes for November 16th, 2020, pages 1 through 3.
I have a quick, before we do that, there's a question I have on that. Do we approve them and then I ask the question? Is it-
So we don't have a motion. We should approve. We should do a first and second and then move forward with comments or questions.
Motion, I motion.
Second.
Thank you. Comments?
Yeah, on the last meeting, we have on the policies and presented by the administration on policy 118.1. We were supposed to get information on the from Dr. Fituli on the soccer program. I never got any information. Did you?
I am not in receipt of any additional information. Let's be more specific.
So we
What
need to-
particular section of policy 118? I'm pulling it up now, actually.
18. It was on the
Cyber Academy,
on the
online courses.
it said that it was probably we asked that
I recall. Yes.
it was the first it was paragraph A that on the page 1 of the minutes.
Dr. Vituli, is there any update?
Yes, I could give you that, absolutely. We have moved forward, and the guidance counselors and the new principal of Visaka have worked out a program that will allow students who are taking study halls in either high school to participate in online courses. Of course, that's kind of always been in place, but now we're going to offer, a little bit of an extended offering of different types of courses that may entice them. Again, as a student in a study hall, they don't necessarily have to take any courses because we would assume their schedules are probably at the point where they could be filled. So, but do know the opportunity does exist, and my apologies for not sending an email regarding that.
Not a problem. I just wanted to follow up on it, Dr. Fituli.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Because I know Rebecca was very interested in it too.
Yep. We are making them available to any student in any study hall.
And that's in both high school, north and south.
That is correct. Both high schools.
That's all we needed to know. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, George. A motion to approve the following policy review committee meeting calendar dates for 2021, and they're listed in front of you.
I so move that. I have no problem with it.
Second.
Perfect. Policies for discussion this evening. Policies 337, 339, 342, and 343. Our repeal policies revoked and now coming back with new numbers. So let's take a minute and look at policy number 337.
Yep. Let me get my sheet of paper here. Three is vacation, right?
It is. 337 is vacation.
Yeah, I had 2 questions on that. Can the professional staff or the support staff take vacation during school time? In other words, if we're having school in the first week of March, can they take their vacation in the first week of March if they get permission, and then we have to pay for a substitute?
Yes, if they have the time, providing they have the time.
Why should they? This is my question. Why should they be able to take that time off when they only work 180 days and they have plenty of time off during other vacations that they can take that vacation time, those days off on vacation, and we have to pay for a substitute. So we're now paying for a substitute and salary.
So think about it this way, from an opportunist perspective, they're still employees and they have a contract and they're working. Life is happening. So people take vacation to cover funerals, whatever they use their vacation time for. We recognize the amount of time that they work, but our teaching staff, they work harder than anyone else who works, 52 weeks a year.
Excuse me, Sharon, I didn't say for funerals. To take
George.
a vacation to go to Disney World, I'm using that. during the school year, we as a school board are now paying double. Steve? I'm listening.
George,
It's their discretion.
George, to that point, if you're referencing support staff, you have 10-month and 12-month employees. 12-month employees, of course, may in fact end up utilizing vacation time when school and or students are in session. Your 10-month employees are not permitted to utilize vacation on days that school is in session.
Yeah, I'm actually referencing the general point of taking that. Why should people be allowed to take vacation time during the school year when they had the vacation where we had to pay for substitutes?
George, my question is, why should they not? That's the purpose of having a process to have substitutes.
You don't see why they should not?
I don't. It's their time.
You're kidding me. Why should somebody, why can't they plan to go to Disney World in the summertime than in March where we had to pay a substitute? Well, you tell me what the logic is on that.
But what you're doing is you're assuming that someone is going to Disney World. That's like a case-by-case basis. I wouldn't want to be judgmental that way regarding our full-time employees. If they have vacation time, they should be allowed to use their vacation time at their discretion. Life is happening, and I don't think the school board should dictate when an employee takes their vacation time. Now, if we have a process in place to pay for substitutes to continue the work in their absence, I don't think it's a fair and equitable question.
I'm sorry, maybe you should use going to someplace else. I just use Disney as an example.
But it's not our call where they go.
I just don't see where we should be saying, okay, you can go any place you want during a school year. Now, I'm not saying taking personal days. That's a different story. I'm saying taking vacation. If they're going on vacation to Disney, you tell me, or to any place, I won't use it. If you're going on vacation and we have to get a substitute, we're spending.
George.
Is the issue that we're paying a substitute, or is the issue that the
George.
individual has chose to take vacation?
George, I need
a substitute.
George, are you speaking to professional teachers?
Well, we have them grouped together now, Steve.
No, but to the point of the policy, it's only for those bargaining agreements or bargaining groups that are afforded vacation time. That's not all of our classifications. So this does not apply to professional employees. They do not receive vacation.
So if a professional employee wants to take,
they don't have vacation time.
It's a professional. Maybe you can answer this for me then, Steve. If the professional employee wants to use his 10 sick days, some of his 6 days to go to on a vacation, and now we have to pay a substitute. That's okay.
When I'm speaking of professional, if we're talking about certificated teachers, okay, they do not get vacation time.
They get 10 days personal.
They do not get 10 days personal. They get 10 sick days.
10 sick days, yeah.
Correct. But if an employee was to use more than 3 sick days consecutively, they would be requested to provide a doctor's note.
Okay. Well,
if something goes beyond 10 days, then they have to apply for a leave.
Okay. That's what I'm asking. Now, you answered the question, Steve.
Let me just,
Okay.
Let me
Yeah,
just, Steve, let me
and-
just add to this. Vacation time, anytime an employee has a vacation day, unless it's an administrative staff that doesn't require a substitute, by virtue of a vacation day, it requires a substitute. Because in order to use a vacation day, it's a day that they would otherwise be working, whether it's summer or during the school year. So they would need a substitute. Unless it's an administrative position that would not require a substitute due to their vacation time. So it's a mere fact that to have a vacation day and to use a vacation day, more times than not, will require a substitute regardless of the time of year it is taken.
Okay.
And,
I
and
just-
any 10-month employee, if their classification earns vacation time, they are not permitted to take them on days when school is in session.
Okay, so I just, you clarified, I do appreciate it. That's what, I just,
Okay.
I just trying to get it clarified, and you clarified it in my mind. Thank you.
Folks, I just want to be sure that you received the latest update that I sent midday today for this policy. For that first paragraph, it should read, personnel employed to work 12 months or other schedules considered to be full-time shall be provided paid vacation in accordance with board policy. So I just want to make sure you do have that updated version, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So an employee earns paid vacation after 1 full year of service? Is that what I'm reading? Or when is it triggered? 6 months, 9 months?
After they've had their term of service, depending if they come in mid-year, it would be prorated.
Okay. And then
Just a point, would it be appropriate for the policy at this location to state in accordance with applicable board policy, collective bargaining agreements, contracts, et cetera? Because that's really where most of that is stipulated.
That is in there.
That is in there? Yeah.
It's already there.
Okay,
Right,
I wasn't
third
seeing that. I
paragraph
was
down,
looking.
Eric, yes.
I
third
got it.
paragraph.
I was, I see it now. Sorry. I was referencing only what you quoted, Debbie, and I lost it right there. So good. Very good. I
Okay.
knew that was there. I just want to make sure we didn't drop that.
Still there.
My apologies.
No problem.
so where are we at?
Sharon, you're muted.
I think we're at, we just got finished 337. Now go to 339, right, guys?
Sharon, you're muted.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't recognize I was muted. So the next policy we're looking at, policy number 339, uncompensated leave.
Yeah, the only question I have on 339 is, should be superintendent or his designee, so there can be other, on application. There's two places where you have superintendent.
Where are you at on the policy, George? What number?
Okay, we're 339, under guidelines, application, the first,
Can you please scroll down to this section that he's referring to?
I can't,
Thank you. Okay.
where it says application says superintendent,
I agree, George.
it should be superintendent, should be or designee. Both places, you got the second paragraph and you've got the, what's the,
First paragraph.
And the fourth.
and the fourth or the third paragraph. Both times, the first paragraph and the second paragraph both have the,
I agree. First and second paragraph.
Okay, I will be sure to add it to both of those areas.
because a lot of times, I would think it would be the designee, Other than that, it's fine.
I didn't have any further questions. Can we move on to the next policy, please?
I would just add one item for that one, if you wouldn't mind. I would just ask the committee to consider the length of time for the uncompensated leaves. I know as time goes on, we may be dealing with a lot of uncompensated leaves, because especially if the Family First Act disappears as it's intended to on December 31st. Running a school organization without people that are on uncompensated leave will be challenging if those numbers are significant. Now, you do get to approve them at every board meeting, so it doesn't necessarily have to be addressed in policy, but I'm just bringing that to your attention in case you want to look at that period of the leave, which is a semester or a year, which basically means a person can walk away from their job for half a year or the full year, and you're guaranteeing them their job or a like job in the district back. Which,
And it's, so would this be FMLA?
no, this is just someone who's exhausted all their sick time, all their personal time, all their vacation time. Let's say they've exhausted all their accrued time, yet they still need to leave their position. And the only way they can do so is through an uncompensated leave, which means you're holding their position for them.
A hiatus.
Right. And but you can't fill it either with someone else.
Billy, how many employees do we have that represent this situation?
Steve may be able to speak to that. I don't have a number, but I'm concerned that as we go through, especially COVID and from January on, anyone who's exhausted their time, and the board has already made that decision, that if someone exhausts their time and the Family First days are no longer available, they would have to use uncompensated time in order to keep their position, because the only other option is they have to resign from their position.
More often, the uncompensated leaves follow either the use of an application of FMLA or some sort of medical circumstance, and they're still not released perhaps by their doctor to return to work. They often can then apply for the uncompensated leave. The numbers may fluctuate. I mean, I could pull those numbers and identify and get that to the board, but that just fluctuates from year to year. To Dr. Riker's point, though, that next semester, that could be real, probably for many individuals if things don't change with FFCRA.
So, Dr. Riker,
I'm
what do you say we want to do? Because you say it has to be approved by the board, so if we don't approve them, we have to release them or fire them or whatever you want to call it. Or if we do approve it, it's for the one semester or 1 year. What would you suggest to be otherwise than that?
Well, maybe you could use up to, like up to one semester, if that's where you want to go. I think a year is I mean, if someone has a true medical condition, and again, you could look at them case by case. There is a time period where the organization has to move forward, and as well as the employee. But it's a subjective topic, to be honest. So you can really choose whatever you want it to be, but maybe it says an uncompensated leave under that period of leave may be granted for a period up to 1 semester of the school year.
Dr. Riker, I have a couple of thoughts about that. I'm not sure now is the time to adjust that. And I'm not sure how many employees we could potentially have that are running close to exhausting their time. But I think that could be a strong grievance against us to implement that change right now.
Well,
Unless,
yeah.
because and I'm not sure how many, like I said, are in the pipeline for this. But I don't think, given where we are as a country, that we would want to change this stipulation right now, and it's something that could cost us more on the back end than it's worth.
And I think basically where we say all applications are subject to final approval by the board, we've done that. We can say yes or no, and then if we say no, then that individual has to make the decision whether they want to resign or not. If we say yes, then they get the 1 semester or year. Unless I'm misreading this thing.
What's interesting, and just, from the term we've been on the board, we haven't had such a case, have we? I don't recall seeing it getting to a point where, and I understand COVID could bring on some real scenarios.
I know of only one up north right now.
One who's doing the
Uncompensated.
semester off.
I think he's been, I don't know how many. I think it's been more than that. I'd have to research it.
You also have a lot of these also roll off of, like I said before, either someone who was out on workers' compensation and then that ended, and then they roll into an uncompensated leave, or often they have applied for FMLA after the 12 weeks that has ended, and then they apply for an uncompensated leave if they're still not clear to return to employment.
But at this point, it's still got to be approved by the board. Now, are we trying to do away with getting approved by the board? Is that what we're trying to do in general, or?
Well, I think the recommendation was just to put some more parameters around it, up to, in lieu of just, saying 1 semester and up to, or 1 year. I see it as a placeholder for employees who are going through some opportunities, I should say.
One way to possibly look at it, the language is already built in, and this is what Dr. Riker was already speaking to. It's already built in for a period of 1 semester or 1 school year. As a board, you can say, we prefer to look at these on a semester basis only.
I like that. I think that's fair, to look at them as they arise. But knowing that, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dr.
But you still, you still may not want to exceed the 1 year, but we may say that we'll grant them in like 1 semester increments, as opposed to someone who just applies, I want 1 full year right up front.
Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Then I agree with that. That we would, the review would be per semester, not to exceed 1 year, with the approval of the superintendent and the board at that point.
Well, it actually could be more than 1 year, but we still have to have the board approval.
Yeah.
But we,
Steve, what do you recommend? You live in this space and you see it, would be the first point of contact.
I think putting it at a semester basis, it will help our position, but at the same time, everyone has extenuating circumstances and different reasons. But all it means that they have to do is reapply. So it's not to say that they would be denied if they needed a full year, but they have to go through the process. They have to have provided the documentation and the medical notes that they're not cleared to return. And we take them through the steps. If anything, it may help, to keep them more on task with what's at hand here, which is we want them back working.
So just looking at this, an uncompensated leave may be granted for a period of 1 semester or up to 1 year.
So in the
I'm
past,
thinking that I would want to say that it will be reviewed on a case by a semester.
If you say semester or 1 year review,
Or
we could put in reviewed on a per semester basis.
Will be reviewed,
Per semester basis.
granted and reviewed.
How about every 90 days? Because they don't just start and end at the beginning of a semester.
Right, it just doesn't fall that clean,
Yeah.
right?
So you may say every 90, will be reviewed every 90 days.
That's even better.
From the onset of the claim.
Yes.
Maybe granted for a period of 1 semester. Can I cite what I recommend? Okay, so I just want to go through this. An uncompensated leave may be granted for a period of 1 semester and up to 1 school year. I don't want to say the employee, but yeah, the employee, I don't want to say situation either. The employee, what would you say? File, the employee request will be reviewed in 90-day intervals, in intervals of every 90 days.
And the reason for that, especially if it involves a professional employee, is if we have to get a substitute, and in order to secure a viable candidate, typically we've gone with in excess of 45 days to secure a long-term substitute. If someone's just taking leaves haphazardly, at different increments, that makes it a little bit more challenging. But at the same time, we have afforded employees to take less than a semester because in the end, we want our best people in front of our kids. So, to Debbie's point earlier, a lot of it is a case-by-case basis.
But I think that we wrapped it up. I think that makes sense. It gives us some timelines to say, we're addressing it, we're looking at it, and don't just think it happens that way. Just because it says up to 1 year, we'll be monitoring it.
Sharon and Steve, it's Eric. Just a language suggestion. It may or may not work in this instance, but I know we do something similar in other policies. Would it be helpful from an operational standpoint to indicate that the leave could be approved for up to 1 year, but reviewed/approved at the, for example, July, October, December, and March board meetings?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to tie to particular board meetings just because of the timing of whatever their concerns might be. I'm not sure how that may play out for all circumstances.
That's
And then
fine.
we
Just
left
throwing an
out
idea out there.
January through May, and 90 days is rolling in between January and May. I think generic, but at least it has some parameters around it.
I have a question as far as if we add this language to the policy, does that do anything as far as the collective bargaining agreements that would need the change there, or does that not?
Uncompensated leave, there are boards and districts that don't approve them at all. So it's not a requirement, which is why the board has the authority to determine how that's done. And I don't believe that's a bargained item in any of our collective bargaining agreements. Good question.
That's a great question.
Okay, I will check back just to be sure I don't see anything. If I do, I will alert you to any language that I do find in there that may pose a problem.
Perfect.
I'm not aware of anything that speaks to an uncompensated leave. We do have in our support association contract where it speaks to a work-related injury, so something that falls under workers' compensation, but not an uncompensated leave.
Clearly understood. Deborah, do you have the suggested update?
Yes, I do. And I will run that by you and everyone once before and then get it posted to the website for the 30 days so that we can approve at the next board meeting then.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions for this policy?
No, I think I'm good on it.
Moving on to policy 342, jury duty. I didn't have any questions on this.
No question on it. Basically, we just bringing all the policies into one versus 3 different policies. I had no problem with that.
Makes sense.
No questions. Let's move forward to the next policy, please.
This
Paid holidays.
is the other one that the change made late this afternoon, right, Deb?
Yes, that's correct. So the first paragraph should read, personnel employed to work 12 months or other schedules considered full-time shall be provided paid holidays in accordance with board policy. And then paid holidays are established in accordance with the respective compensation plan, individual contract, or collective bargaining agreement.
And this was a change by the PSBA or?
No, this was just us consolidating our 3 sections of policies all into one. There was no update as far as PSBA. There hasn't been one for quite some time.
Are there any other questions regarding policy 343, paid holidays?
Not from me. Not from me.
Let's continue. And we've been coming back to this policy all year. Oh, so property use of facilities. 707. I looked it over and it's almost like I kept thinking, what was the snag?
Yeah, I had some questions, especially on page 5 of 8.
Thank you.
George, that is where we corrected number 6. Previously on the past board policy agenda, we had it read medical marijuana products are prohibited by federal law. We changed that just to read the use of medical marijuana products are prohibited and in this category on school property.
Why would they be prohibited?
The use of, so if someone's vaping marijuana on school property, that would not be permitted.
Why if it's medical? if it's for medical use and they have the documentation on them or prescription or whatever, why would it be not permitted?
That then falls under the prohibition for tobacco products, which if it's in the vaping form to be in like a vaping
Well,
tool, that would be not permitted. But if you had a
I
patch
don't-
or the oil, then it would.
Item four basically says, as long as the product is not inhaled. So that takes care of that one.
Right.
Can you
Why
move
would-
down to
why-
5 and 6 below?
So why would we say medical marijuana products? We already said in number 4 that as long as it's not, the product is not inhaled, which I think is wrong, but that's another story. Why would we say the use of medical marijuana products? We're saying all medical marijuana products are prohibited, and that doesn't make any sense to me. If somebody, because there's more than inhaling just medical marijuana.
I do have a question because I think that's a good point, George. What is the purpose of 6? The use of medical marijuana products. I'm not sure what that's saying. It's almost like a fragment.
Yeah, I think when PSBA wrote the language, they had it, like I said, it read medical marijuana products as prohibited by federal law. That was their suggestion to include in the policy. So if you're saying we addressed it up in 4, then perhaps we just leave number 6 off altogether if we're addressing that it cannot be vaped. On
That's
4.
my recommendation, Deborah, because I'm not sure what 6 is doing for us either way.
I would leave number 6 off altogether, yeah, because you can get a lot of medical marijuana in lotions, in salves, in all sorts of different ways. So, and I think 4 takes care of the product being inhaled. We say it can't be inhaled.
Okay, so we'll just delete item number 6 then, and then we would head if there's no other objections to
That
any
was
of the other changes. Okay.
Can we move further down on this policy just a little? I just couldn't find. That's clear. Any other questions regarding use of facilities?
That would be, I'm good on it.
Let's move to the next policy, please. I think that might
That's
be it. So it sounds like we'll be moving policy 337, 342, and 707 forward.
What about 339 and 343, Sharon? Are we okay with?
Well, we were gonna
If you-
add, there were,
If I make those changes, could we still post them then for first read and then just approve them at the next board meeting? That's up to you, or do you want to bring them back to policy again?
I would like to bring it back with the corrected changes. That way we're
Okay.
approving right there on the spot, just as we've been doing it so far this year. Yeah, I'd like to bring those back. So right now we're moving 337 forward, 342, 343, you're gonna check on, is that 343? Was that the one you were gonna check to verify? And 707.
I think you're fine with 343,
343
Sharon.
is okay.
That's the paid holidays and.
That one was clean.
Yeah, that one's pretty clean. That one's going to be mostly driven by your collective bargaining agreements anyway, so I think
Okay,
we're good there.
So 337, 342, 343, and 707 will be posted. Perfect.
Correct. Okay, and 339 then will be brought back to the next policy meeting with the changes that you requested, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, I
At
just
this
need
time, we're going to move. I'm sorry, did you have a question, Deborah?
I just need a motion on both of those to move them forward. Motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
At this time, we'll move to the public participation section of the meeting. Are there any questions from the public? Hearing none. We'll move forward. Motion to authorize and direct the administration to post the following items with noted revisions for public review during the month of December and subsequent board actions in January, and that'll be 337, 342, 343, and 707.
So moved.
If there are no further questions, Deborah, you had a question? Oh,
No, we're
You're
good.
second,
Right,
yeah.
I had Wayne as second and George as first on that motion then, okay?
Perfect. If there's no further questions or comments, the meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you. We'll catch
Thank you, everyone.
I think